Hey, everybody, and welcome to another deep dive with us.
Yeah, thanks for joining us.
Today, we're going to be looking at some super useful English phrases.
For anyone traveling to London,
Yeah, and these come from another podcast we listen to.
where the host travels all around London.
So imagine you just landed at Heathrow.
Oh, I can only imagine.
You're excited to be there, of course.
Of course.
But maybe a little tired from the flight.
Yeah, jet lag is real.
You need to find your hotel.
Right.
But the tube map just looks like a jumbled mess.
I've been there.
In the podcast we listen to the host, Liam uses this phrase.
Oh, yeah. What was it?
Excuse me, could you tell me how to get to hotel name, please?
So polite.
Right.
Yeah, and that's the key takeaway here.
Politeness.
Politeness using could instead of can.
Oh, like it's a softer request.
Exactly. Makes you sound much more charming.
But, I mean, do people really care that much?
Oh, they do. It's a cultural thing.
Interesting.
They really value politeness.
So first impressions really do matter.
Absolutely, even if you're just asking for directions.
Okay. I'm convinced I'll use could.
Good choice.
So let's say you make it to the hotel.
Hopefully without too much trouble.
You walk up to the front desk.
Time to check in.
Liam keeps it really simple. He just says, "Hello, I have a reservation under that name, your last name."
Yeah, no need to overcomplicate things.
But you could add a little extra politeness.
Ooh,
Let's say you want to know when breakfast is.
important question.
You could say, "Excuse me, could you tell me what time breakfast is served, please?"
Nice, using could again.
See, I'm learning.
You're natural.
All right, so now we're checked in.
What's next?
I'm thinking a double-decker bus tour.
Classic.
Liam's phrase is, 2 tickets for the double-decker bus tour, please.
Straight to the point, I like it.
But what about when you want to buy souvenirs?
Yeah, you can't always rely on words.
Especially if there's a language barrier.
Right, so what do?
Liam says you can just point at what you want
I mean, that makes sense.
and say, "Excuse me, how much is this?"
Perfect. A little nonverbal communication goes a long way.
Now, after all that sightseeing,
All that walking around.
we've got to eat.
I'm starving just thinking about it.
I'm thinking fish and chips.
Good choice.
How do I order that?
Let's see, Liam suggests, I'd like to order the dish name, please.
That sounds pretty easy.
Yeah, it's polite, but you're still being assertive.
I like that combo.
And then when you're ready for the bill, you can just say, "Do I have the bill, please?"
Another chance to use could.
You're getting the hang of this.
Okay, I think I am.
We're making progress.
We've covered directions, checking into the hotel, sightseeing, and even ordering food.
That's a lot.
I know, but there's one more thing.
What that?
I noticed Liam uses thank you and cheers a lot.
Ah, yes, cheers.
Is there something special about that word?
It's a very versatile word.
What do you mean?
It can be used for thank you, goodbye, even good health.
Wow, that's pretty amazing.
I know, right? It's like a linguistic Swiss Army knife.
Okay, I need to learn more about this.
Yes, we'll definitely come back to that.
But first, I think we need a break.
Yeah, let's let everyone digest all this new information.
We'll be right back with more London phrases and insights.
Don't go anywhere. Welcome back, everyone.
All right, so before the break, we were talking about cheers.
Yes, cheers. Very useful.
But Liam also mentioned something else important.
Oh, right. About not being afraid to ask questions.
Yeah, to actually practice your English.
It's the best way to learn.
But I always feel so self-conscious, like I'm going to sound silly.
Oh, I know that feeling.
Is there a way to ask questions without sounding like a total tourist?
Well, first of all, everyone makes mistakes.
True.
And Londoners are used to hearing different accents.
Okay, that's good to know.
So don't be shy. Just go for it.
All right. Any tips for phrasing those questions?
Let's say you need to find the restroom.
Always a good one to know.
Instead of just saying, "Where's the bathroom?"
Yeah, that sounds a bit blunt.
You could say, "Excuse me, could you point me in the direction of the restrooms, please?"
Ah, much more polite.
And don't be afraid to use a little humor.
Oh, like what?
You could say something like, "I've been exploring so much, I'm lost and need the loo."
Okay, that's pretty funny.
Just keep it lighthearted.
Good advice.
Yeah.
All right, so back to cheers.
Right, we were saying it's a very versatile word.
Like, you can use it for pretty much anything.
Well, almost anything.
So give me some examples.
If someone holds the door open for you, you can say cheers.
That ain't easy.
Yeah, it's like a quick thank you.
I like it efficient.
But remember, it's all about context.
Right, like you wouldn't use it in a formal setting.
Exactly, you probably stick with thank you then.
Okay, but what about understanding British humor?
That can be tricky.
I've heard it's very dry.
It is, and sometimes it's hard to tell if they're serious or not.
So how do I avoid an awkward situation?
Pay attention to their tone of voice.
And their body language?
Exactly. If they're smiling, they're probably joking.
This is a lot to remember.
Don't worry, you'll get the hang of it.
Okay, I hope so.
Now let's talk about some more practical situations. Like what?
Like if you need to find out the train schedule.
Or book a tour.
Right. In those cases, you need to be clear and concise.
No rambling on.
So for the train schedule, you could say, "Excuse me, could you tell me the departure times for the train to Edinburgh, please?"
Nice and direct.
And if you want to request something like a late checkout at the hotel,
How do you do that politely?
you could say, "Would it be possible to have a late checkout tomorrow, please?"
Using would makes it sound less demanding.
Exactly. You're more likely to get a positive response.
But what if they say no?
Then you can ask about other options.
Like maybe an extra hour?
Right, be flexible and polite.
Okay, I'm getting a better sense of how to handle these situations.
It's all about being respectful and understanding.
Even when things don't go your way.
Exactly. All right, let's take a short break here.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground.
We'll be right back with more insights from Liam's London adventure. Okay, we're back and ready for more London tips. Let's dive in.
Going through all these phrases with you,
It's amazing how much there is to learn about communicating in London.
it really is. There are so many nuances.
But before we wrap up,
Okay.
there's one more thing Liam emphasizes that I think is super important.
Oh, yeah, what's that?
He talks about not being afraid to practice your English.
Absolutely, even if you make mistakes.
Yeah, that's always my biggest fear.
I get it, but honestly, most people are really understanding.
You think so?
I know, so especially in a place like London.
They're used to hearing all sorts of accents.
Exactly, so don't let that hold you back.
Okay, but what if I just can't remember how to say something?
That happens to everyone.
Should I just try to gesture it out?
You can, but it's also okay to ask for help.
Like how?
You could say something like, excuse me, I'm not sure how to say this in English, but...
And then just explain what you mean.
Exactly. Most people will be happy to help.
That takes a lot of pressure off.
It does, and it can actually lead to some fun interactions.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Now, speaking of communication challenges, we haven't talked much about accents.
Oh, that's a good point. London has so many different accents.
It's true, from the classic British accent to regional dialects.
I'd probably be so confused trying to understand everyone.
It can be overwhelming at first.
Any advice?
Just focus on listening carefully.
And don't be afraid to ask people to repeat themselves.
Exactly, and you'll start to pick up on the different accents over time.
So even though we've learned all these great phrases, and we're trying our best to be polite and respectful,
Right.
there's still a chance we might make mistakes or encounter misunderstandings.
It's part of traveling and experiencing different cultures.
I guess you can't prepare for everything.
Exactly, but that's what makes it so interesting.
So how do we handle those situations?
With grace and humor.
And a willingness to learn.
Absolutely. Those
Yeah.
awkward moments can actually become some of your best memories.
As we're wrapping up this deep dive,
Yeah.
it makes me think about how language learning
Yeah.
is about so much more than just memorizing words
It's true. It's about connecting with people.
and understanding different perspectives.
Exactly. It opens a whole new world.
So to everyone listening,
Yes.
as you plan your trip to London, remember all the phrases we've talked about.
Use them with confidence.
Embrace the challenge of communicating in a new language.
And most importantly, have fun.
That's what it's all about.
Cheers to that.
Cheers.